Good afternoon, Patriots. It is January 4th, 2016, and this is the first Fred Brauer Report of the year. Thank you for joining me. Before I get into it, I wanted to show you my Christmas presents. My friends and family know what I like. I got this sticker for the car. It says, Restore the Anger, Live Free or Die. I love that one. And I got a Gadsden pin. Cool, huh? And this just came. Belated Christmas present? I don't know. And I don't know who sent it to me, but I got the Obama Chia Pet. I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but you can rest assured I'll do something patriotic with it. And let's see, where else? This is my favorite. I love it. I got my official Obama toilet paper, although I'm not touching any parts of my private parts with this guy's face. But I do love that. My official Obama butt wipe toilet paper. Yes, that's awesome. And my other, I really love this. Yeah. See that? That awesome or what? Yep. So those are my favorite Christmas presents. 2 Gadsden flags, one in a flag, one in a pin. Yeah. Cool stuff. Well, I should fold that up better, but as long as it doesn't touch the ground. Okay, now, on to the news of the day. We got a serious problem in Oregon. And, listen, every patriot, conservative in the country is well aware of the abuses and the tyranny of the BLM, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the federal government. 53% of Oregon is now under some kind of federal land control. This is nothing new. This has been going on for years and years and years. And in Nevada, in Arizona, Oregon, Washington, the problem is, and listen, while I support this militia in their ideal and in their cause and in their ultimate goal, we've got to be very, very, very careful here, okay? When fighting for an American citizen and fighting for the Constitution and fighting against the tyrannical overreach of a federal bureaucracy that is clearly eons, light years out of control, we as patriots have to be very careful not to break the law in doing so. Okay? Now, when I say that, I mean it's very difficult to defend the Constitution and then fracture laws to do it. Now, I'm not aiming at the militia in Oregon per se. I'm speaking in generalities, in general terms. When we exercise our patriotism, when we exercise our First Amendment rights and our Second Amendment rights, and we fight against the tyranny of this government, we have to uphold the law while we are doing it. Else, we dilute our own message. Now, the LeftWing Media is already going berserk about this, of course. Right-wing terrorists, and, it's the race cards coming out. You know the left. They won't waste any time to demonize these militia as racists and terrorists and domestic terrorists, insurrectionists. The words are already coming out. As a matter of fact, Montel Williams has already blown his stack on Twitter like the liberal that he is. But if we're going to be armed, and we're going to show up, and we're going to take over federal property, we need to be prepared. And we need to do this in a constitutional manner. And let's not forget that the sovereign citizens movement, if you don't know what that is, please look it up. Let's not forget that the sovereign citizens movement has infiltrated aspects of the patriot movement. And there is nothing constitutional about the sovereign citizens movement. There is nothing patriotic about the sovereign citizens movement. There is one document, there is one rule of law in the United States, and that is the United States Constitution as it was written. And we have to make sure that we uphold that. The fundamental problem here, and any patriot that's paying half attention, any conservative with half a brain understands that the problem here is the infiltration of Democrat liberalism into state politics. And this is what I want to get into. This is what the state of Oregon is suffering from right now. Once upon a time, Oregon was one of the most conservative states in the country. Now, it is a liberal haven. It is pro-gay. It is pro-pot. It is pro-abortion. It is pro-gun control. Why? Because the governor is a Democrat, the senators are Democrat, the representatives are Democrat. Liberalism and the Democrat Party have targeted and utilized and taken over the urban centers in many states. If you look at election maps, you look at the Oregon election map, and look how Obama won Oregon. Portland, right up there at the north, blue, 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 blue. The rest of the state's red. The problem with the rest of the state is there's hardly anyone living there. 70% of the population lives around Portland. This is what's going on. So when you look at someone like the Hammonds, and you look at the cause that's being fought for at this wildlife refuge right now as we speak, they have no support. They've got support elsewhere in the nation, but they don't have any support in Oregon. None. Where are the two senators? Where's the governor? They have no support. As a matter of fact, this Oregon citizens in Burns and in the local area, there's signs all over the place, militia leave, please leave, militia leave. This patriot movement, this militia that is there to support the Hammonds, who are being blackballed by the BLM, there's no question about that. That's a given. I mean, I have one question. Why can't the Hammonds have their ranch right next to this wildlife preserve? What's the problem? Why can't they live there? Why can't they have their ranch there? Simple. Because the federal government wants all the private land. They want it. They don't want any private landowners. None. They want them out, out, out. They want them out. That's what's going on here. But years ago, the 40 or 50 or 60 ranchers, I don't know how many, there used to be a lot. They sold their land. Most of them. Most of them sold their land and their ranches to the Bureau of Land Management or to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. They sold their land. So now the Hammonds and a couple others are the holdouts. And that's why the BLM is going after them in the way that they are. They are blackballing them because they want all the land. They don't want any private landowners. But who is on the Hammond side? No one in Oregon. Nobody. The governors, the senators, the reps, all of the leadership is absent. Why? Because they're all Democrats, beholding to Obama, beholding to the Obama administration, beholding to liberalism, beholding to these environmental fascists. Everybody go live in the city. Go live in the city. Go live in the suburbs. Sell your ranches. That's it. No, you can't have your ranch anymore. And if you don't move, we'll charge you with causing fires and poaching. We all know how the federal government works. That's no surprise. My only issue with this is that we, as patriots and the patriot movement, be very careful not to play into the hands of liberal propaganda. I'm waiting. I'm already waiting for the Wicked Witch of Benghazi to come out and say, see, look at those right-wing extremists up there in Oregon with their guns taking over that refuge. I'm just waiting for liberal rags like MSNBC or Salon or the Huffington Post to come out and say, see, look at those domestic terrorists with their rifles and their camo waving 3%er flags. You see how this works? As patriots, as American citizens, fighting for the fundamental principles of the Constitution and fundamental rights of American citizens, we have to be very careful not to play into the hands of liberal propaganda. Use critical thinking and logic and plan ahead. And hold our leaders to the feet to the fire. Where are these two senators in Oregon? Where the hell is the governor? I mean, the state of Oregon had no problem going after two Christian bakers, Aaron and Melissa Klein. Now, this Brad Avakian is running for Secretary of State in the state of Oregon after he electronically confiscated $7,000 out of Aaron and Melissa Klein's bank account 3 days before Christmas. The $135,000 fine. By the way, let's get into that a little bit here because, you know, I cannot let this go. I cannot let this go. And I made a blog about this a few days ago, and I'm telling you, Brad Avakian, if you're hearing this, listen close. Brad Avakian, Rachel, and Melissa, Bowman Cryer, the two militant lesbians that instead of picking another bakery, used the government of Oregon to destroy a family. I want to get into this for a minute because it's not about a city ordinance and it's not about baking a cake and it's not about getting your way. It's about using local government to extort money out of a private business owner. It's about using local government and the civil rights BS card to extort large sums of money. I emailed the Portland Labor Commission months after this first happened. It was 2014, I believe. And I asked them, what are the guidelines for such a fine? And their answer to me was, well, there aren't really guidelines for this. It's decided upon with a select committee after the decision is made. So there aren't really set guidelines to extort $135,000 out of a mom-and-pop Christian bakery. My guess is that's something that Brad Avakian came up with. But here's the real issue about this. This is what I'm going to call gay thuggery. For years and years and years and years and years, homosexuals nationwide told us to stay the hell out of their bedrooms. Remember that? Now, it's a political tool. Just like Black Lives Matter, just like the race card, just like affirmative action. And Democrats snatched on it, just like they snatched on every other cultural Marxist political tool. And this is the kind of thing, when I talk about patriotism, when I talk about protesting, when I talk about civil disobedience, this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. Now, This movement in Oregon with the 100 or 150 militia may get a desired result. It may not. I don't know yet. We will see. At least Mr. Bundy was heard on television today. I find it very difficult to believe that the federal government and the state of Oregon are going to give back that whole wildlife refuge to the people of Oregon when the people of Oregon themselves aren't actually lobbying or protesting for that. Okay, we're talking about 150 militia guys from, as far as I know, Arizona and Nevada. So the people of Oregon have not petitioned for this, per se. So I don't know if that's going to have the desired outcome it wants. But I will say this. This is the kind of energy and determination and will and patriotic will that I would like to see on a daily basis when it comes to the indoctrination that's taking place in our schools, the destruction that is taking place in our cities like Detroit or Baltimore, for instance. Where was the patriotic response there? None. None. You've got Marilyn Mosby and Stephanie Rawlings Blake in Baltimore running roughshod over city politics, rule of law. Tell me when a civil case has been settled out of court for $6 million to the family of a known drug dealer with multiple convictions. When has a civil suit preceded the criminal trial? When? When has that happened? The Democrat Party has seized on our urban centers and is corrupting the country from within. And again, this is what is happening in Oregon. The federal government is not as much to blame, almost, as the state government in Oregon. They're pro-liberal on every front. But when it comes to one rancher that just want to keep their property and be left alone, no, they don't support that. That, my friends, is corruption in state government. More so than the corruption in D.C. Not more so, but on the same lines. The governor of Oregon and the state legislature of Oregon, they're working hand in hand with the Bureau of Land Management and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and whatever agency that's kicking private landowners out of Oregon. And how did they get there? How did Oregon end up with a Democrat governor, 2 Democrat senators, 5 Democrat reps? How did they get there? They had to be elected. See what I'm saying, folks? This travesty that we are witnessing now happened a long time ago. It began a long time ago. And I'm not going to sit here and say that the people of Oregon are to blame, but there's a question there. There is a question there, just like there's a question in my home state of Maryland. Maryland wasn't always the socialist state of Maryland, the liberal bastion that it is now. But they snuck in. They snuck in. And the people of Maryland let it happen. This is the fight. This is the fight, ladies and gentlemen. Our urban centers are killing us. They're killing us. They're killing us with the cities. Obama took every major city in the country just about. 2008 and 2012. He won Pennsylvania almost with Philadelphia alone. Look at Florida. He took Florida with Miami and Tampa, just about. Urban centers. And this is where, as patriots and conservatives, we have to start focusing some of our attention. Because I find it very hard to believe that 100% of the population in these cities are pro-Marxist or pro-liberal or pro-totalitarianism. They're voting along a couple selfish lines that ultimately will not serve their cause. Many of them are just grossly uninformed. So, we have to go about educating ourselves, informing ourselves, and informing those around us as to the indoctrination that's going on in our schools, the political correctness that is infecting our places of employment and our media. We have to discredit the lies that are being fomented by liberal media every chance we get. It's not hard to discredit a lie. Just pull out the facts and distribute it. And be vocal. And be verbal. And be loud. And be consistent. And never give in. Never ever give in. I want to leave you with this final thought. For today, and the issue that we're all watching on TV now, the issue in Oregon is domination of a state by liberals, Democrats, progressives. And I don't care what state it is. Unless the people wake up, and wake up soon. Because if the federal government and the state of Oregon and the BLM and the United States Fish and Wildlife Service can destroy one rancher that's a conservative, they can destroy anybody. And that is what we have to bring to the American public's attention. No one is safe anywhere. And if we don't hold these elected officials accountable, these Democrat senators in Oregon, the governor in Oregon, if we don't hold them accountable and show the American people that they only come to the defense of liberals and they throw conservatives to the wolves, as soon as we show the American people that on a large scale, then we'll get some attention. Thank you. Talk to you soon.